Hi guys, I wanted to make sure that you know how to do the Molar Mass interactive worksheet that we have assigned today. So I'm going to go through a little video to show you how to do it in case you're one of those people who are a little confused. Okay, so we're trying to determine the molar mass. In order to do that, you're going to take the masses on the periodic table and you're going to add them up depending on what the compound formula is. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one is the molar mass of C2H6. So we have carbon, and we have 2 carbons, and we have hydrogen, we have 6 of those. So the first thing I'm going to do is come down to this table, and I'm going to see carbon and hydrogen written here. I got to say how many there are, what the atomic mass is of each of them, and then what it is after we multiply it together, just like the video showed you earlier. So C2 means I have 2 carbons. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to look for the number 2. Notice that's the only ones without a unit. Hydrogen, there's 6 of them because it's H6. So I'm going to click on that box, and I'm going to click hydrogen. From here, now I need to use the periodic table. So since carbon is the first one listed, that's the first element I'm going to look for. So I'm going to go to the periodic table. I'm going to look for carbon. It's right here. You'll notice it says 12.01. So I'm going to go back to my worksheet, and I'm going to select 12.01. Then I'm going to say 2 times 12.01 is 24. Here's 24.02. Now I'm going to go through the same process for the hydrogen. I have 6 hydrogens here, but I need to figure out the mass for hydrogen. So I'm going to go back to the periodic table, and I'm going to look for hydrogen. Hydrogen is 1.01. So from here, I look for the atomic mass when I click on that box, 1.01. Now I'm going to multiply those two together. 6 times 1.01 comes out to be 6.06. Finally, the last step in doing this is to add everything together. 24.02 plus 6.06 gives us 30.08. Let's try another one. Calcium bromide, CaBr2. I was nice and gave you the chemical formula for all of these, but I didn't necessarily have to. You should be able to know that that was a crisscross one. So calcium and bromine are my 2 elements. Calcium, if I look at my chemical formula, I only have 1 calcium. So I'm going to click on this and select 1. For bromine, I have 2 of them because it's Br2. So I'm going to click 2 for that. Now, if by chance, if this was 1 and 1, like if I scroll down to LiOH, all of these are 1s. Notice it's 1 each time. It doesn't matter which one you pick because I'm going to go back and double check it when I grade it. There's no way for the computer to know which is which. So keep that in mind. I'm going to double check. Now I'm going to look for the mass on the periodic table. So I need to look for calcium. Calcium is right here, 40.08. So I'm going to click on that box. I'm going to select 40.08. Again, I have 40.078 in 2 different spots. That's okay. I'm going to go back and double check because there's no way for you to know which that you're clicking. So 1 times 40.078 is going to be 40.078. It's going to be itself. The next element is bromine. So I'm going to go back to the periodic table. I'm going to look for bromine. It says 79.90. So I'm going to look for something close to 79.9. And here we go, 79.904. We have 3 options. Make sure we're choosing the right one. Then we're going to do 2 times that 79.9. When I do that calculation in my calculator, it comes out to be 159.8. Finally, our last step is to add these together. And when you do, it comes out to be 199.9. I'm going to do one more example that's a little bit more difficult. I'm going to find one with parentheses just to make sure that we know how to do the ones with parentheses. How about this one? Cobalt nitrate, cobalt 2 nitrate. I want to make sure that we know how to do this. So it's CONO3 2. That 2 only goes inside the parentheses. It does not go to that cobalt because the cobalt is outside the parentheses. So I only have one cobalt here. So when I go here to the table, I want to select the number 1 for cobalt. Then let's look at nitrogen. There's one nitrogen, but then it gets multiplied by 2. So that means I actually have 2 nitrogens. And finally, we have oxygen. There's 3 oxygens here, but then it gets multiplied by 2. So I actually have 6. Once I get those numbers in, it's time to look at the periodic table for the masses. So we have to look for cobalt on the periodic table. Cobalt is right here, 58.93. So let's take a look at my boxes. 58.93 is right here. 1 times 58.93, because we're going to multiply these two together, is again 58.93. The next one I'm looking for is nitrogen. So let's take a look at nitrogen. (14.01). So here under atomic mass for nitrogen, we're going to select 14.01. Now it's 2 times 14, so that's going to be 28. And then finally, we have oxygen. Oxygen is right next to nitrogen, and it's 16.0. So I'm going to select 16 for this one. Then 6 times 16 equals 96. Finally, we're going to add these numbers up. And when we do, it comes out to be 182.95. All right, hopefully you have a good idea on how to finish this worksheet now. I'm expecting this all to be done before class is over. If you have questions, I will be able to answer them during our next class period. Thank you.